Welcome to the Shout Out with Sage show. Shout Out with Sage.
Shout me out.
And that's all I gotta say. So shout out and let's go.
Hi everyone, I'm Sage Stevens. Welcome to Shout Out with Sage. My guest today is a Golden Globe nominated film composer who just won a 2022 Hollywood Music Media Award. I was personally there and saw that, so that was amazing. He has written music for 100 projects ranging from theatrical features to documentaries and television series. He is a member of the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, aka the Oscars, and received the Golden Globe nomination for his work on Nomad, the Warrior, and that was starring Jason Scott Lee and Jay Hernandez, directed by Sergei Bodrov, Ivan Passer, and Taget Teminov. He has also been nominated for Best Music on The Punisher, and I want to welcome to the show today, Carlo Solato. Hi, Carlo. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Yes. So we met a few months ago at an Academy member event, and we chatted. So I want to thank you for being here. And then I ran into you again when you won your award at the HMMA. So what project was that for?
This was the award for a Mexican movie that is out in the theaters these days, called Cuando Sea Joven, which you can translate in not literally, but maybe when you happen to be young. I would translate like this.
Okay, roughly.
Yeah, because it's a very nice sentimental comedy, but also with some magical twists.
Okay.
Because actually is a granny who happened to enter in a photographic studio. The guy takes a pic of her, and she exits the studio in a body of the 30-year-old woman. So, but keeping her mind of a 70 and up years old woman. So
that sounds cute.
She
right.
goes back to her life in this condition, and then there is a match of events happening. But it's certainly a movie I would recommend to everybody. Yeah.
How did you get started in music?
I get started when I was probably less than 10 years old. And my mother drove me all the way from Rome to Spoleto in the central Italy to a festival called Festival dei Due Mondi, Two Worlds Festival, and was a music, theater, arts festival. It's still there, the festival. And we attended a performance in a very old Baroque theater, beautiful theater, the Theater Caio Melisso, of a group called Voices of East Harlem. And they would perform the Black Nativity. It was the first time I saw a black man, a black woman, whatever. And the show ended up with all the people in the audience stopping their own seats and clapping hands against the rhythm of the Gospels. And so on our way back to Rome, my mother asked me, what you want for your birthday, the guitar or the bicycle? And I said, the guitar. I want the guitar. This was my baptism, my unction.
Right.
The music, yes.
That was like you just loved the music for that? Like what exactly did...
The calling. I felt something spiritual in it. I felt something unusual, something I never experienced before. I had this connection with it was not only the show and the beauty of the show and the beauty of the music, which I still remember actually, looking for those songs. But there is no evidence of them there. Was many years ago. So. They haven't been published by the same group. There is a new group called Voices of East Harlem, but they're not the same kind of spirit. They are not, and so, and even there is a movie called Black Nativity, but there's nothing to do with it. So probably was this relationship with something bigger than us, or
Right.
that I do think that music has this quality, to the
Right.
most abstract among the arts, and
Mm.
so that's why it's probably the more connected with the spirit,
Okay.
because you cannot visualize
Well,
anything.
there's I think maybe also it's the vibration quality because music's vibration. And so vibration
Also,
is sort of metaphysical if
yeah,
you
and
do
certainly to
read about
share
that stuff.
this with other people in the same room,
Mm.
feeling the same kind of feelings, feeling the same way, receiving that music in the same way, has been
Right.
kind of a blessing, and a calling. It became a calling.
Right. With your music, how do you approach a project? How do you pick a project? Are there certain projects that speak to you, or how do you do that?
Generally, are the projects picking me, in
Okay.
the sense that directors or producers and stuff, they know my previous work, so they want me to score new stuff. My
Right.
way to approach then the project is to ask for a first vision of the movie with no
Mhm.
temporary music at all.
Okay,
And
so that's a little different because, like, I know from some other composers I've spoken to, they usually the director has an idea in mind and he sort of sends that. You don't want them to do that at all?
no, I don't want that. I want to share with the director immediately after. So
Mm.
sometimes the director has a general idea and they share with me before my first vision of the music,
Right.
of the movie. But I need to watch the movie with no temporary music at all, or
Okay.
just Foley and dialogue, because otherwise I have nothing to propose different from what they have in
Right.
mind. And once I have, and then I keep watching the movie. If nothing happens on the first time, I watch it again until a little spark comes, and this
Okay.
is the beginning of everything. So the first very pattern of notes, you start
Mm.
from it, and by developing it, you achieve something more, and you keep on going. Then,
Mm.
that said, you do the spotting with the director, and the
Okay.
spotting is called this way spotting because
Spot.
back in the
Okay.
time they used to put a spot on the film,
Okay.
from where the music starts and where the music ends.
Okay. Right.
So the spotting is something you're sitting with the director, you're watching the movie together, and you
Mm.
chat about the music, and what part this actor you don't see he has in the movie,
Okay.
have to cover in the movie actually. Yeah.
Okay. Do you you work with the director very closely. What happens when you have like a disagreement or something, or have you ever had that happen, like on
Yeah,
what you feel should be up there on the screen?
yeah, this can happen, a different vision of some sequence of some
Right.
parts of the movie. This can happen because sometimes director are asking you for instance, let's do an example,
Okay.
a scene, two actors. So the
Mm.
expectations of the director were for these two actors to deliver something. They didn't deliver. They
Okay.
did not deliver. Okay. So now he's asked to the music to replace
Right. So the
that
music's
missing part,
helping them
to help
evoke those
to
emotions, right?
push something. But sometimes it is a mistake to push, and so
Mm.
generally is the composer to say, listen, this scene works perfectly,
Mm.
or why you want to push more than this? So sometimes,
Mm.
and then you have maybe a discussion and you reach a midway point, in order not to push
Right.
too much. But this happens all the time. But this is the dialectic of the spotting, actually. Sometimes it happens also that you don't understand the scene, or you disagree with the scene, or you don't like a scene. So of course, since you have
Right,
to
right,
give back to the movie the feelings that the movie gave to you,
right.
you have to ask the director. So explain me, please, this scene because I don't get it. You know. Oh, and so, but they are not really disagreements. I'm probably I'm knocking on wood, but probably I've been very fortunate so far,
Right.
you know, by not having any of this kind of disagreements with anyone. If you disagree, generally you disagree on everything. So
Okay.
you better leave it. Better,
Just
you
don't
know,
even start
eh,
the project, right?
don't
Yeah.
even start it. Don't even start, you know. It
Okay.
happened with me at the very beginning of my career. I understood that some movies, and I badly needed some work, you know. I
Right,
badly needed to
exactly.
start a career and do, but still, I prefer not to argue or not to find myself in a situation in which you have a conflict with the director rather than you know being quiet and look for a different project and be looking for a different project.
Right.
Absolutely.
How did you get your first job? How did you start? How did that happen for you?
It happened in 1981. My son was born,
Okay.
and at that time, till that time, what I did was I had a band. We toured Europe. We toured the entire East Africa. We produced six albums. I mean, and then after that, I was arranging, conducting, producing
Mhm.
contemporary music and stuff like that. Okay, but my dream was always to become a composer for movies, to
Okay.
write music for movies. So when my son was born, I had to feed this guy, you know. And so I
Yeah,
said,
food's
but
sort of
I
important.
want to feed him by being a movie composer.
Right.
So I have to decline every other job,
Mm.
any kind of different job that are not music for movies. So I gave myself 3 years. I that
Okay.
I said myself, I have to make it in 3 years. If I don't achieve this, I'll go back to
Mm.
producing, writing songs, conducting, whatever, playing, and
Right.
but because I have to feed him, you know. So and thank God, one year and a half later, I had my very first opportunity, and
And how did that come about for you, that opportunity?
uh, when you are focused, when
Mhm.
you focus on something, you know, you're there all the time. So I was called to score some theater, some stage performances,
Mm.
but then we didn't have on the same page, and I was complaining about this with a friend of mine in a place, and this other friend of ours came in
Mm.
and said, "What are you crying for? What are you complaining for? What are you saying?" They said, "Hey, you know, I just lost an opportunity, sadly, because it could have been a good opportunity. Instead, it turned like
Mm.
a very bad thing."
Mm.
And I said, "Oh, if you want, I just wrote a script, and they did a movie. I can
Mm.
introduce you to the director. If he likes you, I mean, if you guys match."
Right.
I cannot push you. I cannot. I'm not in the position to push you, to recommend you or something.
Right.
Nothing of that. I was very happy about that because I. But if you match with him, so could be a first opportunity for you. I say thank you. And we matched a lot. I did many
Okay.
other movies with the same director who gave me the first opportunity. His name is Paolo Poeti, and he's an Italian director, and the movie was a very good one, starring Michele Placido, who is a big star in Italy.
Okay.
Stuff. So is how.
So you started in Italy and then did you come right away to LA or did that happen later for you? And tell me a bit about how that journey, like the transition from
It
Italy to
happened,
LA.
yeah, because back in 1992, 93, I scored a movie that basically everybody disregarded in Italy, because it was the very last production of Franco Cristaldi. Franco Cristaldi was the same producer for Cinema Paradiso, so
I love
was
that movie.
an iconic producer in Italy. But unfortunately, Franco Cristaldi died while we were final dubbing the movie at a big stage. Franco Cristaldi was a fighter for his own movies, So the movie lost his protection in a way. So the critics went against the movie badly, because at that time the trend in Italy was the trend of being neo-realistic. So everything should have been done with a very raw way, with the handy camera and all this, you know what.
Yeah.
So instead, this movie had a great vision. So the name of the movie was Flight of the Innocent, and the director was Carlo Carlei. Carlo came to America with that movie after this situation in Italy, and everybody loved it here. Everybody loved it. And I came by here. It was during the holidays, more or less this period. When you have parties, you have etc. And when people asked me, what are you here for? I said, I scored this Italian movie, what's the name of Italian movie? I said, Flight of the Innocents. They would hug me. They wouldn't say, oh, we love the movie. No, they would, oh, this has been, you made me agree with that movie. So it's fantastic. The movie was nominated for Best Foreign at the Golden Globes. And besides, the correspondent for Variety in Italy, Deborah Young, wrote an article about the movie on Variety, mentioning my music. So when Carlo closed the contract, the other Carlo Carlei, for Fluke, which was an MGM movie, and he thank him, he proposed me my name and the name of the DP to MGM. They certainly accepted with no any very smoothly,
Right.
And then after that, I kept doing back and forth, Los Angeles, Roma, Los Angeles, with co-productions, many episodes of the Bible saga, some independent movies and stuff. And it was always more here and less in Italy, more here and less in Italy. I came here also for 2 days. For the spotting of Julius Caesar, I spent only 2 nights here, and then it went back to write, and finally I had a crush with California, with the idea of the melting pot, with the melting pot, with the stuff here you have all these cultures melting up together, and this is a beauty, and I think is a very unique place in the world.
What's your biggest advice for someone who's wanting to become a composer?
You said to become a composer. I don't think you become.
You are a composer, right? Okay.
Exactly. I don't think you become a composer. Either you are or you are not, because this is the gift. This is like faith. Those who have faith, they receive the gift, right? So they truly believe in the afterlife. They truly believe in music is the same. So I think that a single shepherd in the middle of in the steppes of the Central Asia, creating a song for the moon, for the beauty of the moon, is a composer. Someone else who is struggling to write a very complex thing for an orchestra, but feeling nothing, is not a composer, is a writer, is something else. Music is a gift,
Right.
and we have the responsibility to. Then this said, I would say, what is your tip to someone who wants to become a composer for movies? This
Right.
is a different animal.
Right.
Also, once you are a composer, first of all, keep strongly your own voice. Whatever career your own voice can prepare for you, but it's going to be your career, it's going to be your life, it's going to be your music. You will be dealing with it, not with becoming someone else, and this is and then that's it. I mean, keep looking for your own voice and keep looking for context. And to young composer, my tip is always look for people of your same age, student movies, little stuff, even not paid or bad paid, but just pile up
to develop
credits,
that.
American, especially in this market, American credits, because is what you need to have. And the ones who have the same age of yours now, they will, and producing a short movie today, in 10 years or even less, they will produce an Academy Award winning movie, probably.
Right.
And so you are still connected with them.
Right. So it's, again, like many things, it's about networking and, developing your contacts and stuff like that.
This
Finding
is about networking, but not this much. The most important thing is, you never get a work because you are at a party, or you. This is an urban legend. You get some work if someone listens to your music and they love it, or if you have a deep exchange on something. So look for little stuff for young people. Start producing music, so you can show music also.
Did you find a difference between America and Italy, like in how, I guess, how a film gets made, or how you go about the working process?
So the process mainly, with independent movies in this country, or also in Mexico, or in the entire American continent, is basically the same. So we have in Europe a smaller market. So we don't have this situation with the big studios,
Right.
deciding and making rules, and so there is no big difference. Of course, there is a little difference in terms of budgets, in terms of rules sometimes, but I think it's all about your relationship with the director always,
Okay.
or you cannot. In my case, I also, when at the very beginning I was introduced to some new director by a producer, I always called the director and say, listen, the producer, I know they recommended me, but I have to deal with you. So I want to deal with you, and I want you to approve that someone proposed me. So let's get together. Let's talk. Let's get to know each other, and we'll see. It's my only way to do. Is a very craftsmanship. To me is I think is my position probably is different for some who switch from Europe to mainstream movies in America is probably different, but in my case is right the same.
What do you love the best about what you do?
Everything. Truly everything, because that's also magic part of it. So sometimes you love I don't know, scoring, but not much the spotting situation, or not much to deal with the editing, not much to I love every single step of the process, you know.
Okay.
And actually I enjoyed a lot. I regret when I cannot conduct the orchestra myself because of the timing, or because the orchestra is located in a
Different
far
country or
away,
something.
you don't have time to go there, or the budget to go there. That could happen. It happened actually. I did remotely 3 times out of 120 movies. Is only 3 times, so it's a little percentage, but I love every single moment, even when I am the car reaching the scoring stage, or when I enter the scoring stage. Every moment is enjoyable to me. I feel so blessed to do this.
What was the biggest difficulty you had, like, in developing your career?
I would say to develop my career. I mean, I don't know. I can't recall any
Big major.
particular.
Yeah.
No, mention no. Some. You have a. My mother used to tell me, when you have a new project and you are so excited about it, don't say anybody. Don't say anybody, because envy is a dangerous enemy. So, and I realized that sometimes it happened, but that someone projected kind of negative vibes to, because they were jealous or something. But it also, it didn't happen so often. And it I don't know. I really had no big obstacles. Of course, the very beginning has been difficult, because when you have but I had this band before, and
Okay.
and it helped a lot my beginning, because when I first met this first director I dealt with, he actually was looking for a different sound for Venice, for the city of Venice, where the movie was located, and where the movie happened. And at that time everything was like Vivaldesque kind. You had
Okay.
with this Vivaldi thing, with
Like the Four Seasons.
rhythmics, with the bass and drums and stuff. While I had developed a complete different thing, kind of a Middle Eastern, Italian music, which was something different, but it matched perfectly. So I had stuff to show to him, and say, we can treat Venice this way rather than that way. And so it helped a lot. So I didn't find big obstacles. Sometimes maybe the budget, but it happened also that a cut of budget turned it into a better option,
Okay.
because it forced me to
Be more creative, or
in a different way, and I wrote something which I wouldn't have written in a perfect work condition.
Right. What do you think the steps to success are?
Success. What is success? Success is it depends on what success is for you.
Right.
For me, success is the continuation of my work. This is my success, and to keep working with people I like, and because I decided to spend my life doing this, and so the minimum request is to spend your time with people you like and you
Right.
love to spend time with, and I have to tell you, I've been blessed. I think that I have been blessed. Really.
Well, that's amazing. Do you have an agent or a manager? And if so,
Yeah,
how did that happen for you?
I am the worst person in the world to deal with agents and stuff like that. Because rather than an agent, I would love to have a babysitter, so someone covering everything I'm not able and I don't feel like covering, like phone calls or stuff, and pushing me. So now I have I found a person after doing all. I have been represented by so far by two different agencies, three different agencies. But
Okay.
now I have a new friend, collaborator, and representative, and we are dealing one another, saying, okay, let's do few projects together, and then we will sign and finally being being
Yeah.
being
Official.
all set, and
Yeah.
I'm in this process with Jeff. This is his name, and and we so far did already 3 movies together
Mm.
successfully, and so I think and I hope it will keep going.
Right. How did you get your first agent?
My first agent, I got it because an Italian American music supervisor,
Mm.
David Franco, introduced me to Maggie Rodford.
Okay.
Maggie is Eredel, and she had actually introduced me to Scott Edel, who is a lawyer, and Scott
Okay.
introduced me to Maggie.
Okay.
And this agency was in London mainly, but at that time they had an office also in Los Angeles. So I
Okay.
met Maggie and was my first agent. After doing Fluke, actually.
Okay. That was with Donald Sutherland. Was Fluke or
No. Fluke was Matthew
Was-
Modine, Nancy Trey.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry. I was
yeah.
thinking something
Yeah.
else. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And do you have any other shout outs? Was there anyone else who was really instrumental for you that or helped you out or pushed you in the right direction?
I'm so
You mentioned a
grateful.
few already, so but
Yeah, but listen, the most important thing is this is a little story that I always tell to young composers, because I will never forget that at the very beginning of the conservatory composition, right?
right.
My teacher, Daniele Paris, one day told us, the class, that he wanted us to write something for the orchestra, for the conservatory orchestra, which was just forming. So it was students and professors all together, and I say, why don't you write a composition for orchestra to be performed at the end of the year? So I went to this store. I bought the full score music sheet, all this stuff, and to like going to a church, to a temple, or in a very religious way. So
Right.
so I came back with this composition, but since I started as a folk musician, and I have been always interested in music from the people, the traditional music of different cultures, and all this, which I always did in my life, Or I wrote a Sardinian dance, basically, for orchestra. It was like a dance, which was interesting under the point of view of the rhythm, but not much interesting under the point of view of the harmony, of the succession of the chords, etc. So I went to the maestro with my music, with my full score. He wrote it like this, because he was really a genius in that, boom, 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 whistling some part, boom, boom, and all this, and then I went, maestro, I know that is not that interesting under the point of view of the harmony, but is what I felt to do, for this performance of the orchestra. And he goes, Asilio, was a distortion of my last name, how he used to call me. If you ask me to write like Wagner, I'm able to do it. I'm Hindemith, I'm able to do it. And maybe even like Richard Strauss, I can do it. But if you ask to write me like myself, then I start struggling with myself. You know already what you like and what you want to go with. Keep it. This is a gift.
Oh,
And so
that's awesome.
how generous is this from a maestro, from a teacher? How generous. So this is the other, the thing that keeps pushing me. And when I'm in front of something and I don't know if to go this direction or that direction, I ask myself, which one is closer to me actually? Which one, even if the thing is, our limits, what we sometimes consider our limits, are actually our qualities, are actually our codes. You recognize Beethoven because he works inside these limits, is inside this. You recognize Vivaldi, you recognize everybody because of that, And so this is the most important push I had in composing music, and this is what I'm trying to transmit to younger composers.
That's wonderful. Is there any other sage advice you'd love to give a composer?
Oh, no.
Before we wrap up.
Actually, not much.
No.
Not much. Keep looking for your own voice, because it's the only reason why someone chooses you rather than another one, because you represent a difference, and a difference also in life, also in the society. Difference is always an enrichment, is never something disgracing stuff. No, difference.
Right, to develop your own style and your own individual voice.
Yeah, exactly. To find your own style, because if you are a composer, you have it already. Then you develop, you study. You have to study, because if you want to write for orchestra, if you want to transmit what you have in mind, you have to study. But this is a technique. It's not composition. Composition is in the air. It comes, you don't know where from, But the music is in the air. I mean, is not even in the air. Is coming from. Ask thousands of composers where their music comes from. They have no answer. There is no answer. Where does music come from?
That's a good question.
Influences, stuff can orient you this way, the other way, but this is related to technique, to stuff, but the music itself, these first three notes that come and then decide the genesis of everything coming, following, where they come from. I don't have an answer.
Well, thanks so much for talking to us today. What's your latest do you have something coming up? Do you have a new
I have my latest has been this series of documentaries and a documentary feature starring Oliver Stone and the first president of Kazakhstan, because I have been working a lot in Kazakhstan. I had actually the movie you quoted.
For the Golden Globe was
moment.
in Kazakhstan.
It was my first opportunity to be in Kazakhstan. Then I produced a documentary about the Kazakh music, and that's why they called me to score this one. But presently I'm working on spec on my opera. Is something based on true events back in 1895 in New York. It's a story of is a kind of is how an American lady rescued the life of a poor Italian immigrant sentenced to be electrocuted, and she was able to rescue. Is a true story. It's a beautiful story. But now I'm starting a new project with the same director of the movie I was awarded for. The same director of Cuando Sea Joven, Raúl Martinez, just finished shootings for a movie called La Posada, and I'm waiting for the first cut to appear on my screen here and
right
start working for him.
So does does what you do change a lot between the first cut, let's say, and the final cut? Like, have there been times where, it will the tone or the feel might change a lot, or is it pretty well set from the beginning?
No, the first cut is the one I'm expecting this spark from, right? So you
Right.
see the movie and you want the movie to resonate with you in a certain, and so once it does, you have this starting point. So you start developing, but certainly after spotting the movie with the director, and this is generally with a second cut, with what we call director's cut, which is the first, you can call it editor's cut generally.
Right.
Then you go to the director's cut, and then you, from that, you go to the final cut. And in this process of spotting the movie and of changing opinions and sharing ideas with the director and with the editor, which is crucial. The editor's eye is crucial. It's crucial because the editor doesn't indulge in what we do, about characters, feelings, stuff. Generally, editors have a more grounded vision of the movie, so they know that you need a time transition there and the time transition there, and you better don't
a little more
forget
technical, let's say.
that this thing, technical, but also artistic in a way, because it's part of the fluency of the movie, And if you have a good editor, in a movie, the work for the composer is much easier, because a good editor is the one who catches the pace of the movie and the rhythm of the images, and the edit the movie accordingly,
the pacing of the movie is super important. If the pacing's off,
it's crucial, it's important. And the more the pacing is fluent, the easier it is for the composer to write against images, because it is already fluent, so you can add more rather than save parts and and dodge big jumping stuff, so it's very important. Yes.
And how do we find you? Are you on the internet, social media?
I am first of all, I have my website, which is carlosiliotto.com. Then I'm on Facebook. I'm not often on Instagram and stuff, but and I am on Wikipedia. My
your
email
website and Facebook are your main.
And they have, I guess both have my
info.
email address, and so people can find me easily. So
okay, great. Well, thank you so much for being here, Carlo.
Thank you.
Great. I learned a lot about the music part of filmmaking, so that was always interesting. I love it. Thank you. And have a good day. Oh, happy holidays. I hope you have a good December.
I hope to see you to some screenings around, because we have so many,
Yes, I'm sure I'll run into you again at some awards or a screening or something.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay.
Cool. Okay, well, thank you. Okay. Thanks
you
so
very
much.
much. Thank you.
Bye.